That's a good little segue into South Africa. Mm-hmm. Is this the beginning of the end of Test cricket for nations outside the big three? Doesn't look good.
Yeah, we talk about to me, it's just money. One, the players don't get paid enough outside of Australia, India, and England to play Test cricket, and two, to make enough money. Those leagues, the T20 leagues are making more money for them than Test cricket is. So
that's for the National Cricket Board.
For the boards.
Exactly.
Not for the ICC.
No.
The ICC has a lot of money. A lot of it, yes, is the BCCI. Is there, do we need to have a wealth sharing system where all this money that's coming in through India needs to actually prop up?
Yeah, well, that's the
West
conversation.
Indies and now, and Sri Lanka's been in turmoil, and now South Africa, you're starting to think this is getting kind of close to the top of cricketing prowess.
Yeah. Well, outside of those big three, if that's going to be Test cricket going forward, where it's just those three playing against each other in a rotation, they need some. It seems like the other boards want better support, need some more money, and they obviously think the best way to get funds now is. These guys need to be playing in their T20 leagues, which is interesting because it's the opposite of what we've been talking about for the Big Bash League, because it struggles because it doesn't have its Australian cricketers in it.
And
we make money from Test cricket, so it's the different. They've got the opposite problem.
And Australia's weird in that sense, where you talk to most Aussies, and again maybe this comes down to funding, and our best players always want to play Test cricket. It's always seen as the pinnacle of cricket in this nation. But if someone is a 35-year-old male in this country and they say, no, I prefer to watch the Big Bash over Test cricket, I will laugh in their face and then say, don't ever fucking talk to me about cricket ever again. Honestly, that is my personal opinion.
Would you think it'd be different if the Australian 11 were playing regular in every Big Bash game? It was you have Smud going up against Marnus. Their two teams are facing off, and
that'd be interesting.
So that's kind of where
and someone said I'd rather watch that than this Test match against the West Indies. I'd say okay.
Yeah. So
okay. But if you'd rather watch, Smudge play for the pink team against Usman playing for the green team over Ashes day one, I'm still going to laugh in your face.
Yes, yeah.
And, I suppose maybe that makes me a cricket snob.
Which I think is the issue that these other nations have, is they don't have the bankable franchise sort of stars. They can. So we're spoiled. Yeah, we are spoiled. India's spoiled. England have their guys, whereas South Africa are probably pretty close to that. But
they
maybe
have a half decent team.
But maybe they.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But maybe they need to build those stars up more locally. So that's why they're saying play the leagues more, get out there. We'll build the league. The league's bringing the T20's bringing in more money. We'll get that, and then maybe we'll come. We'll loop back around, and then.
So you think it's less
to Test cricket?
It's less about cricket as a sport. It's more about cricket competing against other sports in South Africa. It's
there's probably other issues in the African nations going on that we're.
Well, because the whole
skipping over, but
the whole thing with T20, particularly with what the IPL has established, is the commercialisation of cricket.
Yep.
The BCCI have gotten the ICC to block out a whole part of the year so that they can commercialise cricket in India.
It's always been done like that.
And it's always been done like that.
And now Indians aren't allowed to play in T20 leagues elsewhere, and we'll actively, put our fingers in every pudding to make sure that the IPL is the biggest thing in cricket.
Yep. So to me, this South Africa versus India 2 Test series to me feels like a handout. It's India saying, we'll send the guys. Yeah, we'll give you the coin.
And why the fuck is it 2 tests? It's perfectly poised.
Yes.
Like South Africa hammered them in the
South Africa are competitive in South Africa.
Well, they've never lost to India in South Africa.
Yes.
That's something that Australia doesn't have against either. We've lost at home to both South Africa and India multiple times.
Yeah. And I think, go back to it, I think the problem is viewership and buy-in. I think South African cricket is thinking the T20 leagues is the way to get promotion, get the money, because we're talking money. That's what we're talking about. Get the money back into the league, and then maybe we can push to be part of the top 4, be the 4th team, compete with these guys on a more regular basis. Be where we were 10, 15 years ago. I think that's
interesting.
I think that's the fallout from T20 is, and attention spans generally,
Yeah.
Thank
you, iPhone.
They have to generate the money, generate the interest so that they can then pay these guys to come over, get India and Australia over more regularly, and then play proper competitive series. I think is the other thing. So turn it into a 3 or 4 day series, 3 or 4 match series.
They've always been 3.
Three. Yeah, do the 3. India, 3 or 5. Like India, it's a full tour, or it's
India, South Africa. As my knowledge, it's always been 3.
3. Yeah.
Interesting. I really hope in 5 or 10 years we watch this podcast and go, they were scared about everyone not playing Test cricket. What morons! But it's really starting to get that feel about it.
My worry is Test cricket goes to where it's more of like, if I'm going to use a comparison, grand final, like bowl kind of, Super Bowl kind of thing, where it's you play your leagues and then you have so when I say leagues, your T20 competitions, and then you have some sort of format where Test cricket is played in some regard, but it's not as much as it is now, and it's kind of it's still seen as the pinnacle, but it's played more like a pinnacle, like it's a final event versus a regular occurrence throughout the year. So
I was struggling to get the NFL comparison, but I'm with you in the sense that it could get to a point where it's like,
everyone's playing shitloads of T20, and
we play a couple of tests a year, and it's still the pinnacle. But here's
you play like a World Test Championship over 6 months, and you have 4 or 5 teams competing in it.
Get us in the comments.
Interesting.
What do you think? Are we destined for Australia, India, England only playing Test cricket? Will doesn't not mean all that much, and we've got nothing to worry about.
World Test
South
Championship.
Africa.
I wonder if the World Test Championship is something that maybe is a solution. Let's say if they can build more interest in it.
Well, outside of the last 4 years, you've never been able to say we're the Test champions, so that's kind of neat. It was nice beating India and England to kick off an Ashes campaign. That is for sure.
I mean, last note, my conspiracy theory hat here. India, well, with this whole T20 thing and South Africa not playing their best team in this next test against New Zealand, how does this, if it continues on like with all these T20 comps and
they might have a World Test Championship that's redundant from day one.
Yeah, it's just
completely
might have
these 9 ICC members that are playing for the World Test Championship. But you look at it and you're like, just start the 3-way semi-final or call it 4-way semis now, because there's only 4 teams that can actually compete for this.
Well, that's the concern. That's what I was saying, is it'll go to an Australia, India, England tri-series, and they'll play off against each other over, say, a couple months, and
you know what,
and then they're crowned a champion. But
I would actually be mad, because then we wouldn't have summers like this where we're playing the West Indies for the second consecutive time, and it's a big snooze fest. And every year we play Test cricket against India and England.
That feels very rugby to me.
Look at the All Blacks. Look how good they are.
That kind of seems to me like that's Test cricket dying off to me. Whereas you would hope those other nations would. To lose like New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan, etc., out of that kind of conversation, I think is not great for cricket.
Let's hope that one 19th century rich white person sport doesn't follow the fate of another old white 19th century rich white person sport.
Caveat, of course, like Test cricket survived one-day cricket, so you'd think it would survive T20 as well. But world's a very different place than it was in the 80s and 90s when they kicked it off.
Yeah.